Good morning. Welcome to Wellspring. My name is Jim Moore. I am part of your Sunday, February 25th, 2024 service team. Now we have a few announcements. Early Birds meet Sunday mornings at 9:30 via Zoom. The link is in the weekly email and on the website. Today we have our Reverend Kamatara, and our upcoming speakers for March. On the 3rd is Jean Geringer. On the 10th is Brian Kurtz. March 17th is Reverend Edward. Sandy Scott will be our speaker on March 24th, and Reverend Kamatara will be back for Easter Sunday. Yay. The Thursday evening group meets every week at 7 p.m. We are watching a variety of videos, sure to bring up questions and discussion. We're having our get together on March 2nd. We're going to, as a group, attend a New Age fair hosted by True Art of the Earth. It's in Mesilla, and we're going to follow that by dinner at, what's it called? Okay. What did 1 o'clock, I think, is when we're meeting for the meal. It's all morning till like 10 to 2 or something like that. Next announcement. On Sunday, March 3rd, the New Horizons Band will perform at 3 p.m. at Atkinson Recital Hall at NMSU, and admission is free. The theme is At the Movies, and the selections include Disney at the Movies, Bridge on the River Kwai, Beetlejuice, one of my favorite movies, and many more. And our own Judy Bethman is one of the conductors. So on Sunday, March 10th, when author Brian Kurtz is going to speak here, he's coming down from Albuquerque. Then after lunch, we'll provide a lunch and have a workshop after the service. We've been reading his book, Access the Real You in Early Birds. So we're excited about that. On Sunday, March 17th, from 1 to 2:30 p.m., our friend Brian Lotman will be at the Center for Spiritual Living, and the suggested fee for that is $20 to $30. So probably many of us will want to attend that. Lastly, our prayer team remains ready to serve and support you. You may submit a request via our webpage or give it to Edward. Our prayer team meets virtually on Tuesday afternoons at 4:15 to pray with you. You may consider sitting in your quiet space during that time. We know we are one in spirit, and the energy of spirit knows no limits. And now we'll have a short invocation. As we gather this morning, we know that Spirit is in this place, that there is nowhere that Spirit is not. We only need to be open to this truth to enrich our lives hour by hour and day by day. I am so grateful to be part of this Wellspring Sunday celebration, and grateful that each of you are here as well. Some in person, some on Zoom, and some just in spirit. As we slowly breathe in and out, we realize and acknowledge our oneness, both with each other and with Spirit. I know and affirm that Kamatara's message will resonate with each of us, and that we will gain both wisdom and insight from her words and her presence with us here today. May the love and positive vibes that we receive here today flow out into our community, growing and expanding to bless our entire world. Again, I am so grateful to be part of this beacon of light we know as Wellspring, and so it is. Now we're going to sing our song of joy, so stand up and if you feel like you can. You may be seated and join me in reading our vision, mission, and affirmation. Our vision: to elevate spiritual consciousness in our world. Our mission: to support individual spiritual quests through celebration, study, counsel, loving fellowship, and service. And our affirmation: I am the place where love shows up. I shine the light of love for all who cross my path and realign with Spirit when my love light feels dim. Wellspring is a radiant center of love for each other and our entire community. Please be seated, or you're already seated. And now we're going to have special music. Thank you, Barry. The reading this morning came from a couple of different sources that I just looked up on the internet. And I combined a few things here. Hope is a beacon that pierces the darkness, illuminates our souls, even in the bleakest of times. Let us embark on a spiritual reflection, seeking solace in its embrace. Hope has a strong spiritual dimension. It is associated with virtues such as patience, gratitude, charity, and faith. Faith is the building block of hope. Hope is a positive and potent spiritual practice with the power to pull us through difficult times. Hope contributes to positive development in adolescence, and religious and spiritual contexts may be particularly important for developing and supporting hope. Spirituality can help people develop a more hopeful outlook on life and cope with the stresses of life. Hope is not passive, it is active. It declares that all shall be well, and it means it. Even amidst challenges, we find beauty, the goodness of life. Hope fuels our inner strength, enabling us to face adversity. As we navigate fear and anxiety, let us hold on to hope, for it is our beacon, our unwavering light. May hope breathe life into our spirits. And now it's time for our dear Reverend Kamatara to come up and talk to us.
Thank you. Perfect. Well, good morning, everyone. Counting my blessings for being here. It's been a while. Oh my goodness. So I'm even just a little tearful seeing you all again. I'm so happy to be home. And also, as some of you may know if you're Facebook friends, that things have been pretty rugged for the Johnsons lately. I saw a meme that really cracked me up. It said something like, "We made it through the toughest year of January." and then February said, "Oh yeah, I'll see your January and raise you one, hold my beer." Oh my goodness. But I do want to say thank you, because as we do for each other, y'all were so kind and supportive and encouraging, and like messages on Facebook and text messages and phone calls, and like what we do for each other when things got really gnarly. And I do have to admit that at first some of the encouragement made me kind of salty. And I was, when I'm licking my wounds, and when life be life and hard, and then I hear someone, do what initially may feel like toxic positivity, like, "Turn that frown upside down," or, "Oh, this too shall pass," like a kidney stone. I stopped saying that last year when I actually had a kidney stone. Delete, cancel, don't ever say that, okay? Or, when people are like, "It's a new day," or, "You just need to change your vibe." And, initially that just makes me want to bop somebody in the nose. Like, "Do you have any idea what I'm going through?" And all the, tears in my beer, and it's a country song. It's amazing. Okay. But when I got over myself, how can I take these words of encouragement that are real and true and good and have them not just be an empty platitude? They don't have to be. It doesn't have to be a glancing blow or something that just rolls off my back and doesn't mean anything. It can be that beautiful light in the darkness that Jim was reading about. It can help me to rise again and to reconnect me with hope. And that's what I'm really hoping we're going to look at today. So first off, we need to think about, well, what is hope? What does that mean when you say that word? And sometimes the English teacher in me can't resist. Sometimes it's easiest to know what something is by looking at what it isn't, or look at its opposite. So when you look up a definition for hopelessness, ooh, I mean, just sit with that word for a minute. If you feel hopeless, did you just feel the energy in the room? The whole room just went, poof. Oh, ouch. I promise we're going to go out of that space in a moment, but let's just sit in it just for a moment. So in Atlas of the Heart, Dr. Brene Brown, amazing book. She's a quantitative psychologist. She defines a whole bunch of emotions in that book. And hope and hopelessness, they're not emotions, but it does get a big mention in the book. And here's how she defines hopelessness. Hopelessness arises out of a combination of negative life events and negative thought patterns, particularly self-blame and the perceived inability to change our circumstances. Is that not the opposite of what we teach in this spiritual community? Like the exact precise opposite. So just think about that for a second. So something negative happened, and I have negative thoughts about it, and I'm blaming myself, and I have the perceived inability that I can't do anything about it. And I love that it says perceived inability, because we're going to talk about that in just a moment. So something bad happened. I have bad thoughts about it. I'm blaming myself, and there's nothing I can do about it. I guess I'll just go eat some worms. It's, it's really in that vibe. That's really, and I was kind of feeling that way, feeling like I've got a target painted on my back. What is going on with the universe? I'm just waiting for like an Acme anvil to fall from the sky. For those of you who watch Bugs Bunny, I don't know. Okay. So yes, definitely Roadrunners. I live in Albuquerque, but yeah, but luckily no pianos fell and no anvils, and oh my gosh. But when I feel hopeless, and I'm sure you've had different times in your life where it has felt like that, those are really dark lands when people feel really adrift or things feel pointless or futile. You're kind of in the why bother arena of the emotions wheel, where you're like, well, I already blew it, so why bother? There's nothing I can do, so why bother? Like it gets into the, like, I'm not even going to try kind of place. And of course, if we get enough of that stacked up, it can snowball into despair, which is long-term hopelessness. In fact, Dr. Brown says despair is a sense of hopelessness about a person's entire life and future. Oh, ow. So, remembering that it is a new day, that I can change my vibe, that the sun will rise again, is that light in the darkness, that little glimmer of hope, and something that can kind of pull me out of the quicksand or the moor and muck when you're kind of in that swampy land of just, I'm stuck and I don't know how to go forward. In fact, to get a more classical literature quote for you, Alexander Pope, I'm sure you know this one, hope springs eternal in the human breast. And it's so true, isn't it? It's why the new day concept works. Because here's the good news. We are hardwired for hope. Charlie Brown is going to kick that football, let me tell you. Although it could be the definition of insanity too. Maybe he needs to find a different partner, but he is hopeful. Every single time, hope springs eternal in the human breast, the sun will rise again. So let's think about the word hope. We bandy that about like a throwaway term. Oh, I hope you had a good time today. Oh, I hope that casserole turned out. Oh, I hope this person, we just shoot it out there all the time. It's just a throwaway word. But it's a really powerful word. In fact, I love the readings that Jim found because it really got into some of the power that's behind it. It's actually much deeper than people may realize. And at Circles USA, which is my day job, I work for a national nonprofit that's an anti-poverty initiative. We started a collaborative partnership with the University of Oklahoma and Dr. Evie Trevino, who's a quantitative psychologist, for, are you ready for this? The science of hope. I'm like, that can be quantified? That can be measured? Absolutely. And so all the things I've been learning with this new partnership, it's just been wild, not only for my day job, but just even for my personal life, like understanding more about hope and then how that all pictures in my relationships with my children, with my spouse, with myself, with my coworkers. I mean, it's just been wild. So this work has been based on another quantitative psychologist named C.R. Snyder. So I definitely want to cite the source here. And as I open up my Brene Brown book, guess who she's quoting also? Same person. I'm like, okay, this is meant to be. This is solid stuff. All right. So from C.R. Snyder, hope is not an emotion. It's not a woo-woo, fluffy thing. It's actually a cognitive process, which is exciting in our spiritual community because we say change your thinking, change your life. So anything that's a cognitive process is in our wheelhouse. That's amazing. So here's the definition of hope. Hope is the belief that the future can be better and I have the power to make it happen. Is that not the definition of science of mind? That is precisely what we teach in this spiritual community. So let me say it again. Hope is the belief that the future can be different and I have the power to make it happen. So hope is an action statement. And there are 3 components of hope, so we can get really concrete about what may or may not be happening, if we're feeling hope, if we're not feeling hope, if we're feeling stuck, or if we're, going fantastic. So the first component of hope is goal setting. That I have a goal that is meaningful to me. I have a direction for my future experience. So take a moment to think right now. I'm a practical girl. I love, applying metaphysics to our life. So think about in your own life. Do you have a hope for something you'd like to experience in the future? Just take a moment, pick one hope that you have. What would you like to experience or a direction you'd like to go in? What's one goal that you could make to try to get there? Just one goal. And is that meaningful to you? Can you think about why is that meaningful? Okay, so goal setting is one component of hope. The second component of hope is having a pathway to get there. And that goal kind of helps you. If you know what your goal is, then you might already know, oh, well, then this is the next step I should do. If this, then that. Okay, it goes together. So a pathway is a mental or physical strategy to reach that goal. So you're problem solving, you're seeing what your options are, you've got a route to get there. And even if you can't see the whole route, could you at least see the next right step? Okay, so take a moment to think about that hope you have and the goal you just set. What is your next right step? Just envision yourself taking that next right step. And the third component of hope is willpower. That I have the abilities to sustain my motivation to continue on this pathway and to find new pathways if for some reason that pathway doesn't work out. Can I pivot and keep going as opposed to I'm packing up my toys and I'm going home? No. I'm going to sustain my motivation to keep going. So on a scale of 1 to 10, thinking about your goal and your pathway, how motivated are you to do the thing? On a scale of 1 to 10, just think. So if you're not an 8, 9, or 10, there's probably a reason. So, and it could be the goal or it could be the pathway. Maybe the goal isn't meaningful to you. Right now, it is our particular goal that our fabulous young adulty child get a full-time job. It's a classic goal that parents have for their children. Obviously, that's not a meaningful goal to our precious 18-year-old right now. Trying to have compassion there and trying to communicate so they could understand how it might be a meaningful goal for them. We're working on it. Or perhaps it's the pathway. Like, is there something blocking your pathway? Is that pathway too hard? it takes too much time, it takes too much money, it takes too much energy, it's beyond what I could possibly do. Okay, could you pivot? Could you find a different pathway? And all of a sudden your willpower will go up. I can handle this, not that. Or I need, if maybe this person helps me, I could do this pathway. Okay, what is it? So oftentimes, if your willpower is low, it's because the other two components, there's something that's a little off. Or maybe it's not your priority right now. Yeah, I got to take care of these 3 other things before I can even get to this. Take a number. Okay, that's fine. Then put a pin in it and come back to it when it's the right time. That's okay too. We don't have to get judgy about that or throw ourselves underneath the bus because, oh, we'll get there when it's the right time, all in divine right order. So goals, pathways, willpower. See how concrete that is? So if we're stuck, we can self-manage and then get what we need to be able to keep going. So it's important to remember that hope isn't the outcome. Hope is actually the mechanism of change by which we see those outcomes into being. So how do we get to, let's say, the health we would like to experience? Or how do we get to the abundance we would like to experience? Or a deeper sense of belonging or joy or economic stability? Like, what is your thing? How do we get there is hope. So hope is not only the car, it's the gas in the tank. It's the both and. And it's really cool to think about the meta narrative, the big story that hope gives us. Like, what does it tell? Like, if hope is true, and we really believe it's true in this spiritual community. If hope is true, then what does that mean for our lives? Well, it basically says, yes, the world is chaotic, but there is a way to navigate through it. This is hard, and we can do hard things. Or this is a hot mess, and I'm okay. That's a really important narrative considering, especially in an election year, woo, what is happening out in the world. So I'm very appreciative to have reconnected with hope. So first I want to think, how might I be able to reconnect myself with hope? Like, how do I own that it's a new day? So here's just a few things for you to think about. In the morning, when you get up, do you do anything to help you kind of have your set point? What's your set point in the morning? So maybe you could consider different questions. Like, some of you pray, some of you meditate, some of you walk your dog. But like, while you're doing that, perhaps you could contemplate some things like, what are my commitments to myself and to others today? What am I committed to? Or what do I want to experience today? And bring it forth. Oh, I love this question. What qualities of the divine am I committed to offering the world today? That's a really powerful question. And for those of you, if that's way too abstract and you want to be super concrete, because we have the whole spectrum of human beings here, you could just ask, what are my goals and how am I going to get there a little bit more today? Super concrete question. So how do you get to your set point each day? Okay, now I'm set. So a second thought for you to reconnect with hope is, beyond your set point in the morning, do you have touch points throughout the day? Do you set little reminders on your phone like I used to do when I was in the Baha'i faith? We had different times of day that we would pray, or when I was fasting in the Baha'i faith, anytime that I was hungry was a great time to pray. So do you have little, your timer goes off, or like, oh, when I'm brushing my teeth, or every time that I do blank, I get in my car. That's a great time to pray. It's the Rolling Tabernacle. That's my little car, the Rolling Tabernacle of prayer. And there's so many people to bless in Albuquerque when you're trying to cross the river. I'm just saying, there's a lot of people to bless. So what are your ways to remind yourself, touch points throughout the day? So little reminders and affirmations are really powerful. We love affirmations in the spiritual community. In fact, one of my favorite affirmations I adapted from the Baha'i faith, from Baha'u'llah, and it says, may all my movements and my stillness be wholly directed by love. May all my movements and my stillness be wholly directed by love. Instant reset right there. Or when things get really dark and are feeling grisly, I also like the affirmation that says, the pilot light of the divine is always lit in me. The pilot light of the divine is always lit in me. And in an election year, I challenge you to say, and the pilot light of the divine is always lit in you. Could say that about other people too. Can we remember that and practice our faith? Another thing that we really could do is to take it to contemplation and have some self-awareness when we do feel stuck or hopelessness is starting to creep up. Can we be self-aware? Like, oh, there it is. Oh, old friend. Okay, you're here to tell me important information, like an early warning detection system that my hope has gone off the rails. Okay, could I be self-aware if you journal, if you have a prayer partner, if you contemplate while you're walking the dog, or I know some people contemplate while they're blowing up aliens on their phone, like whatever gets you in the zone to be contemplating. And then at that point, pull out the 3 things you know about hope. How's my goal doing? Is this the right pathway? Am I feeling motivated? Because then you can get exact answers of what to do next. And you also can see if you need support. Do you need help? Because here's the most exciting thing about hope. I'll see your hope and raise you one. All right. Hope does more, better, deeper, wider, stronger, longer in community. And this is an amazing community, which I have personally experienced. Even in the last couple months when I wasn't here, you still all were with me. So we can help each other to have hope, even when it seems like the light has gone out. Because hope breeds more hope. So it's really important to shine, like your hope, your encouragement may kindle someone else's hope to keep going. And I know it did for me. So I want to close with a poem by one of my favorite poets. He is still alive. His name is John Rodel, R-O-E-D-E-L. He's very active on Facebook. So you could look him up if you're a Facebook person and find his poems. They're just stunning. It says, you are somebody's front porch to God. You are someone's doorway to mercy. You are the world's threshold to kindness. You are the entrance. You are my entrance to letting go of regret. No pressure, but ... Your life is a gateway to peace for both strangers and friends alike. And whether you realize it or not, empathy has chosen you to turn your heart into a welcome mat for others. This is one of the purposes of your life, to let your existence become a candle-lit veranda of hope for the rest of us to gather on as we hold each other close during the long, dark night. Yeah. And that's why reconnecting with hope and the new day, and why encouraging each other really matters. Thank you for being my candlelight, and thank you for being that for each other. Namaste. Whew, let's take that to prayer. That's also a good thing to reconnect with hope in this moment. So turning inward, dropping into that place where we know there is only one loving source, the all that is. This thing that I choose to call God, that is expressing in me, in you, in the spiritual community, in all that we do and experience, all that we are, all that is here and even beyond what we can understand. It all is that sacred something going on. And so I know that I am and you are aligned with the divine that is the presence and power within. It is the only thing that is happening here. And it is just waiting to be recognized and utilized and appreciated. And so I affirm for each one of us today a recognition of who and what we are and what we are for each other. That we are these beautiful godlings, these little droplets of the divine right here and right now, that we are the light of the divine for each other. That we can and do rekindle each other's hearts with hope. That we do support each other in love with our goals, with our pathways, with our willpower, with our kindness, with our forgiveness, with our compassion, that we bring the qualities of the divine to light. We bring them to life in the here and now. That we are the place where the divine shows up for each other and for this whole world. And so I know for this whole world hope, even when things feel grim, I believe in hope. I believe in us. I know we can do this. I know I can do this, what I'm called to do, who I'm called to be. Absolutely possible. I know the future can be better, and I have the power to make it happen. And I am so grateful for all the ways that outpictures in our lives, all the blessings that come forth every time we reconnect with hope, and every time we help each other to plug back into the divine and to power up and to hold that for the world. I am so grateful for the bounty and blessing of this teaching and for the way the world is just stacked in our favor. That everything truly is in divine right order, regardless of seeming appearance. And so I'm grateful, grateful, grateful for this beautiful spiritual community that is Wellspring, and for all that we get to share together on the journey. And knowing that absolutely all is well. And this hope goes out into the world and does its business all week long. I get out of the way and I let the divine do its thing. So surrendering it all to the divine, I let it go and let it be. And so it is. Yeah, me.
Good morning, everyone. So, the soloist we had planned didn't show up today, so she told me what her topic was, and we're going to all sing "You'll Never Walk Alone." She'll be leading us, so please join in.
I know you know the song, so bring it. And did you, yeah, we got this one on. All right. And what's the starting note? All right. Walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. In the end of a storm, there's a golden sky, and the sweet Thanks for singing along. You're going to have that song all week long now.
Wow, that was awesome. Thank you very much. Everyone sounded so good. And now it's time for our offering. So if someone would pass the basket. Thank you, Miss Judy. As we acknowledge and receive our virtual and in-person gifts, we give great thanks for the offerings already given and those we will be receiving, because we know that giving and receiving are both part of the one flow. We affirm that we are also part of that flow. We bless these gifts and know they are multiplied throughout our community. Thank you, Judy. There are a number of folks who have contributed to the production of this service, and we are grateful for their service. Edward on the computer, and Edwin on the camera, and our speaker, and our musician, and the lady that set up the goodies next door. We thank you for joining us today in Zoom land and here in the sanctuary. And lastly, stay around in the Zoom meeting after service to visit or join us in the social hall. Please stand as you are able and read with me the benediction, followed by our congregational song. Spirit in the midst of us is mighty. Joy, peace, and eternal life are our true nature and flow through us into the world, and so it is.